Out of every character we've had announced so far, the one that I'm the most excited for is easily the Iron Giant. Not only do I love the movie and think it's one of the most underrated animated movies, or really movies period, but the idea of these giant characters that are twice the size as everyone else in the roster, that's just so exciting to me. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I wanted to kind of speculate and throw some ideas out for big bodies that I think would be really cool to see in MultiVersus. And let's just get the obvious one out of the way now. Godzilla is just the easiest slam dunk of a character. Having a game where Godzilla can actually be huge and have this commanding presence over the other characters just because of how tall they are and how big they are, that's going to be perfect for a character like Godzilla, who is essentially king of the kaiju. So let's start with Iron Giant and Godzilla as the basis for our speculation, and let's get into some characters. Before we get into my actual picks and characters I would really like to see, I'm just going to list off some honorable mentions really quickly. First off are Giganta and Atom Smasher from the DC universe. I think we're going to be getting a lot of DC characters, but I don't think we're going to get D-listers, C-listers, or even B-listers. MultiVersus has a lot of franchises to get to, and I don't think they're going to waste their time on DC characters that a lot of people don't want. But Atom Smasher is going to be in Black Adam, and who knows, maybe that movie makes $1 billion, maybe it's DC's biggest movie. I mean, I don't think anyone was expecting Aquaman to take that slot, and if that happens, anything is possible, but I just don't see it happening. Way Big from Ben 10 is another character I think would be neat, but I don't think he's going to get a character slot. I think Ben 10 is obviously going to be the first rep from that series, but if we get multiple Ben 10 characters, I think Gwen, Vilgax, Kevin, there's just a lot of other characters I think would come before one of Ben's aliens. And another character in a similar spot to Way Big is Treebeard from the Lord of the Rings movies. Specifically, Treebeard with Pippin and Merry on the back, and they're just talking shit and trying to absolutely embarrass the enemies, kind of like what Bugs Bunny already does in his voice lines. I think that'd be amazing. Pippin and Merry are some of my favorite Lord of the Rings characters, but I just don't see them getting their own slot. I think these characters could come years from now, but there's a lot of Lord of the Rings characters I think we need to get to first. I mean, Gandalf hasn't even been revealed yet. Aragorn would be great. Gollum, Legolas, Sauron, Sam, Frodo, the main character. There's just a lot of characters that I think we would need to get to first, but I would absolutely love to see Treebeard, Merry, and Pippin. The Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters would be incredible. I think having a Ghostbuster like Venkman just represent that moveset and having every other Ghostbuster be a legendary skin would be neat. And I think the Marshmallow Man would be a great rep for like the ghosts or the villains of Ghostbusters, but again, that requires Ghostbusters getting in, and I don't believe Warner Brothers owns the rights to Ghostbusters. Another honorable mention is Ant-Man/Giant Man from the Marvel movies and comics. Again, this is a character I think would be really cool, but there are just much bigger Marvel characters I think that should get into the game. Characters like Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, Morbius, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, I think all these characters come first over Giant Man, so I don't think we're going to see him in the game. And finally, I want to talk about Megas from Megas XLR. I don't even know if I said that right. I didn't know this guy existed. But some people on Reddit made me aware of him, and he is owned by Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers, so who knows, maybe he gets in. Now let's get to the big-ass boys that I personally want to see in MultiVersus. First up, let's talk about EVA-01, Unit-01, the main robot mech from Neon Genesis Evangelion. The best thing that would happen out of this character getting into the game is a possible remix of Cruel Angel's Thesis playing in the background of one of the stages. Maybe we get an Evangelion stage to go along this character, but I think they'd be really cool and would be a great anime rep that a lot of people would be excited for. After EVA-01, I think Voltron would actually be a really cool pick too. I know Voltron has picked up some relevance recently because of the Netflix show. I've heard that people aren't as crazy about the show thanks to the later seasons and because of how it ended. If it's ended, I'm not super familiar with it. But Voltron still has a really long legacy. I believe he's been around for decades. I think my dad grew up with Voltron, and his character is really iconic, and I would just love to see him in the game. After Voltron would be Eren from Attack on Titan. This is the obvious pick for an anime character in this game, in my opinion. I mean, Attack on Titan isn't exactly opposed to crossovers. Even Dead by Daylight got access to Attack on Titan, which is a really big deal. And with these big characters and these ginormous bodies in MultiVersus, I think having someone like Eren would be really cool. I mean, Levi and Mikasa would be neat, but this is one of the few games where you could add Eren and his size actually come into play and him feel huge. But jumping from anime back to another one of these classic legacy characters, Ultraman would be pretty sick. Similar to Voltron, this is a legacy character that has become relevant thanks to a Netflix show. And his new Netflix design, by the way, is absolutely insane. It's so good. I'm not exactly an Ultraman stan or anything, but I would absolutely play this character just because of how cool he looks in the new one. And with a character that's been around for decades, that's just a lot of skin potential. We're talking about a character that's been around since the 60s, and I think a lot of people could get down with Ultraman fighting Godzilla. That just seems like a really good pitch. But we've been talking a lot about guest characters. Let's go back to WB for a bit with Aku from Samurai Jack. Now, Samurai Jack would need to be in the game first, obviously, and I think that will happen. But Aku is a lot taller than Jack, and while I don't think Aku would be as big as the Iron Giant, he would definitely be on the taller side, and I think MultiVersus is one of the few games that could get his unique size and shape correct. He's also a great villains rep, and we really don't have any great villains reps so far. I mean, we don't even have the Joker revealed yet. There are basically no bad guys in MultiVersus as of right now. So I think Aku would be a really good pick. And piggybacking off of that, Trigon would be another excellent character to add to the game. Now, of course, we would need to get at least one Teen Titan first for this to make sense. And Raven does seem extremely likely. And who better as a foil for Raven than her evil demonic father? Her absolutely gigantic demonic father that MultiVersus could get right because they have these big characters. And Trigon doubles as a DC rep and a Cartoon Network rep, and I just think that's really cool. Following up from Trigon, I think the RX-782 Gundam, that's just the default Gundam model that everyone knows, the iconic classic one. I think it'd be really cool to have a Gundam like that. I mean, think about all the skin potential, right? Every main character's Gundam from any of the variations of the Gundam show, any of the seasons, that's a skin for the original Gundam. They all have the lightsaber, a lot of them have guns, a lot of them have shields. They have a lot in common, and there's some really sick looking robots here. I think if you had one Gundam, it just opens the door to an endless array of skins that you could add to the game. And I think this is a character you could make hella money on. Also, I don't think Gundam will be that tricky of an anime right to get a hold of, because Bandai Namco own Gundam as far as I'm aware, and I feel like Bandai Namco is absolutely a company you can work with, and they are not unfamiliar with crossovers at all. And you know what else would not only be amazing, but have endless skin potential? The Megazord from the Power Rangers. Now, I know a lot of people would want either the Red Ranger or the Green Ranger as a Power Rangers rep, but hear me out. What if we got two Power Rangers reps? One of them was the Green Ranger, and one of them was the Megazord. That would represent all 6 of the original team, and you have endless legendary skin potential for them. Every Megazord from every Power Ranger season could be a potential skin. Every bonus ranger, whether it's a White Ranger, a Black Ranger, a Purple Ranger from the other Power Ranger seasons, can be a skin for the Green Ranger. Well, maybe not all of them. They'd have to fight with a knife, I'm pretty sure, because that's what the Green Ranger fights with. But still, you get what I'm saying. There's a lot of potential here. And dude, it'd just be so cool if they got 5 voice actors for the Megazord and they just had the team members interacting with each other while they fought like they do in the show. That'd be crazy, and I was gonna have the Megazord as an honorable mention until I thought of the fact that we could have all 6 of the Power Rangers in the game with just 2 characters, and that's really cool. Now, up until this point, the characters really haven't been in a specific order. These are just kind of as I thought about them and wrote them down in my notes. But these next 4 characters are by far my top picks for big bodies in MultiVersus. These are definitely a tier above the rest of the characters that I've talked to up to this point. And I think there's no better character to start these 4 off with than Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim. I mean, dude, it's a Warner Brothers movie. While they don't own the IP, I feel like it's no different than getting Lord of the Rings in the game, right? Not only that, but if Godzilla is in MultiVersus, Gypsy Danger versus Godzilla might be the dream matchup that everyone has ever wanted, and MultiVersus could be the game where you can finally play that matchup. I don't know, man. Gypsy Danger would just blow my pants off. I would probably shit my pants if he got announced. I would lose my absolute mind. And you know who else would blow my pants off and make me shit my pants? That's right, dude. Optimus Prime. The king. The leader of the Autobots. Protector and defender of all sentient beings in the universe. A truck. He has all the accolades. And do you know how cool Optimus Prime would be in a game where Jake can turn into a horse and you can jump on Jake and ride him, or Velma can pick you up? Imagine Optimus Prime just opens his front door and you get in the truck and you run over the enemy team. Dude, that would be so cool. And a lot of people think Optimus Prime versus Godzilla would be a fun matchup, even though there's a massive size discrepancy. I feel like MultiVersus could be the magic game where they make that happen. This is easily one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. Definitely my favorite character on this list. The only reason he's not higher is that I've had the opportunity to play as Optimus Prime in a lot of video games up to this point. And even though, yeah, I'm greedy and I would love to play him in another one, I don't need it. Although he does have decades of skin potential because of every show he's been in, every movie he's been in, every video game he's been in, every comic he's been in. He has legendary skin potential with Nemesis Prime and Ultra Magnus. Dude, just put him in. Put in Megatron too, honestly, while you're at it. And Bumblebee. Give us the Holy Trinity, dude. I'm begging you. But enough about Optimus Prime. Let's talk monkeys, apes, gorillas, and the most obvious pick outside of Godzilla, Kong, from the Kong movies. Kong is in a weird spot because I don't know who owns this character. He's not a Toho character original like Godzilla is. Kong is like this weird version of King Kong, but they couldn't say King Kong explicitly because they didn't have the rights to King Kong. So he's just Kong, and I don't know who owns him, but I feel like you could get him in the game. That'd be really neat. You could be the first fighting game to allow Kong versus Godzilla as an actual matchup you could play. That doesn't exist. The only game where these two are in the same game is Call of Duty, and I'm pretty sure they're just armor for your soldier. Kong just kind of needs to get in from a marketing standpoint. They'd be dumb not to put him in. Well, not dumb, because maybe rights get in the way, and I'm sure they would try. But this is definitely a mandatory character for MultiVersus to at least attempt to get. But this final character is Warner Brothers owned, is a giant character, and this is the only game where this character could ever be playable, in my opinion. And if this character misses out on MultiVersus, they might miss out on their only chance to be in a fighting game. And this character is the Symbionic Titan, or just called Titan for short. It's the combination of 3 characters who are aliens from another world in a very underrated TV show. Honestly, the Symbionic Titan and the Iron Giant have a lot in common. They're both these really cool giant robotic characters that are from movies or shows that are highly underrated and that deserved much better. If MultiVersus can bring in the Symbionic Titan alongside the Iron Giant, I would lose my mind, and I don't think another fighting game would ever be able to top MultiVersus for me. These are characters that deserve better. Iron Giant got better. It's time for the Symbionic Titan to get better. He deserves it. Give him better. But yeah, that would do it for all the big boys that I want for MultiVersus. I don't even know if this is a wish list as much as a bunch of recommendations for Player First Games. Hopefully someone from Player First Games watches this, and, you know, if they are, hey, love your work, can't wait for the game, you're doing great, and please give us the Symbionic Titan. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to do it for today's video, and I'll smell you guys later.
Solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo.